people are all about some revisions nowadays. So I get tons and tons of like messages. So here I am. Technically I've had 2 revisions. So I had my first gastric bypass in 2013 and I lost around 200 pounds. That wasn't good enough for me. So I decided that I was gonna try something else because I had complications with my first surgery. I had what's called rapid dumping syndrome. So my stoma was stretched out, not due to me, even though that would have been a little easier to explain. But when I had my gastric bypass, I had a stricture. So does everybody know what a stricture is?
Mm-hmm.
Anybody doesn't?
Yeah.
Okay, so I had really, really bad stricture. It completely closed. So when they went in there, they took something about this size, it's about a 20 gauge, and they blew it open, but it never closed. So everything that goes into my pouch immediately goes into my intestines. And I'm gonna shake the whole time, so I'm gonna do this number with my voice because I can't help it.
You're wonderful.
But thank you. So like I said, I lost about 200 pounds, but I started gaining weight again. So I was terrified. I was like, I don't want to go back up to 500 pounds. So I was like, and I keep forgetting I have this. I'll find it. And these are backwards, so this is great. Here we go. So as you can see, I was quite heavy. At my heaviest, I was probably about 550, but we couldn't weigh me. So I could not find some place to weigh me. We actually talked about going to a zoo, and that's not a joke. Like when I went to a doctor, they were like, well, the only place we could actually get you to weigh would be a zoo. And I was like, I'm not gonna do that. That's gonna hurt my feelings a lot. So I didn't weigh myself for about 8 years. So my spouse decided to go into the military because I was dying. I have, my liver was, I had fatty liver. So it was so big, it actually stretched out the entire part of my stomach. Like it was just, like you could actually see through my stomach wall, like it was just that much fat. So also I was in a wheelchair for a very long time and couldn't walk at all. I couldn't stand for more than like 5, maybe 6 seconds at a time. So that was horrible. And I honestly thought that that was gonna be my life. I thought that that's what I was gonna live like. And I'm gonna cry. Because that's what I do. So, if you've ever seen my YouTube channel, like I cry 90% of the time, and then I kind of complain the rest. So, where was I? Squirrel.
Talking about, you want to die.
Yeah. I did, honestly. I had given up. Like, actually given up. And the reason for that was I could not see myself as anything else but that big. So I couldn't think of, well, if I lost weight somehow, some way, I would be able to get up again. I would be able to cook for myself. I would be able to like take a shower without it hurting. I could roll over in bed without it hurting. I could not foresee any of this. And back then, I tried to get gastric bypass in like 2005 when it was still more relatively new and I had nobody on YouTube to kind of look to. There was like maybe 2 or 3 people that I could look to. Kind of after that. So it was scary, and the doctor had told me that, you know, I would probably just die on the table. So he said no. He just flat out told me no. Even though my insurance at that point in time would definitely pay for it. So, like I said, I had just given up. I had decided that I wasn't interested in living. My brother passed away. He was 500 pounds. My dad had passed away. So my 2 best friends were already gone. So it was easier for me just to say, I'm gonna eat what I want. And I'm just gonna sit here and just get bigger. And then eventually I'll have a heart attack and not have to worry about it. Now this is before I met my beautiful, lovely, amazing wife, Evelyn, in, what was it, 2009?
Yeah.
At the end of this year, we will be together 9 years, married. So, very happy married. So what else can I gastric bypass, like I said, I had issues with it, and I didn't know until about this year, until 2017, that I only had 10% bypassed. I was so sick on the table, I was so big on the table that he didn't have enough time to give me the full bypass. My blood pressure was dropping, my heart rate was going really nasty, and he just didn't have time. He was scared that I was just gonna die. I was also the biggest patient he had ever had, and even though I'd lost 72 pounds doing Weight Watchers, 72 pounds beforehand, my liver was still huge, and I went on 5 weeks of nothing but liquids to try to get my liver to shrink, and that's after losing 72 pounds. So, like I said, I only had 10%, but I lost 200 pounds with that 10%. So it's not like you can't do it. It's just, it's that effort. And then once I realized that I could eat sugar again, that effort went out the window. And it really did, because it was just so much easier for me to say, well, you know, I don't have any restriction. I don't feel any restriction. I can pretty much just eat whatever I want to now. And now that I know I can eat whatever I want to, I'm gonna. So it was cupcakes, cookies, and candy. That's my downfall. I'm a sugar addict. Like, I even have a poisoned apple on my arm to remind me every single solitary day that I'm a sugar addict. Like, I don't want pretzels, I don't want cake, yes I do. I don't want chips, I don't want anything else besides that. So, now we're gonna get into the revisions and why. So, once I decided that I could no longer, live like that, I was like, we moved to California, and the doctors I'd had beforehand were kind of just like, well, you're fat. That's where all your problems are. Have you ever been to the doctor and they just feel like every problem you have is just because you're fat? Yeah. They're not gonna look at anything. They're just gonna be like, well, you're fat, so. Have you tried going outside? How about taking a walk? You know what a gym is? But that's what I would get. I'd be like, I don't have any restrictions. Well, it's because you're eating too much. Well, I'm like, duh. Of course I'm eating too much. I don't have any restrictions. So even if I would portion my food out, I would be starving. Like, my body would tell me I was hungry again, and it would just be ridiculous. So I would be like, no, I'm not going to deal with this. So I found a doctor, and he put in the band over bypass, which is a lap band over my original stomach. I do not want to tell you that the lap band doesn't work. Okay, please do not think that my experience is typical, because it's not. There's a lot of people with the band who say, oh, well, the band doesn't work, the band is terrible for you, don't get it, your doctor's not gonna want you to have it. That's relative to who you are and like what your situation is. Now, I don't lift weights, so that's what I like to do. I'm a gym junkie, and I go to the gym about 6 days a week. So when I first started feeling better and I dropped like 30 pounds, he said, I'll give you a penectomy if you get down to 300 pounds. And I was like, don't mind if I do. So he chopped off the lower half of my tummy, and that allowed me to go to the gym and feel better. I could get on the bike now, I could have more freedom, and I was like, yeah, that's pretty cool. And so when I was lifting weights, I felt the pressure right here all the time. Like, he didn't put my port down here where he would normally put it. He put my port up here on top because I had so much fat. He said trying to stab that needle through my stomach to try to find the little, the little hole to fill it with water. He said it would be miserable. So he'd have to do it with ultrasound. He's like, that's too much work and it would hurt you. So he's like, I'm just gonna put your port way up here. And it worked. So, I did have my band in. I did lose about 50 pounds with it, but I was sick every single day. I would throw up every single day. That's not the band's fault. That's my fault. Because I would eat too much. Because I was used to eating too much. I was used to wanting to have all this food. And so with the band, which kind of sounds gross, and I'll tell you the truth, your stomach secretes like a mucus. So when you put food in there, well, that has to go somewhere. And if you got a lot of restriction, which is what I wanted, well, where's that mucus gonna go? It has to come up. And then I could put food in, and then I would get sick again. So that was my fault. The band did its job. It gave me the restriction. I decided that I was going to continue to eat because then I knew, well, I could just throw it back up and eat more. That's addiction. That's my addiction. That's my problem. So when I was weightlifting, the port kind of ripped out of my stomach wall. So I had half of it kind of sitting in my stomach muscle and the other half kind of like pulled out. Well, it started eroding into my pouch. So I was like, well, we have to take it out. So I only had it for a year. I only lost about 30 to 40 pounds with it. And again, I'm gonna tell you, that's my fault. Like, I'm hand to God, that was my fault. I probably could have lost a lot more weight. I decided that was not what I wanted because it was too hard and I had a way to cheat, so that's what I did. So then my doctor wised up to me. He was like, okay, so now you've gained 60 pounds back. So after he took out the band, I went crazy with food because now I'm not gonna throw up. So I just decided to eat whatever I want. This is a running thing with me. You hear that? Not that. It's like, you're done, Devon. I'm like, well, wait. That's a recurring thing with me is that, I will overeat and I will eat what I want when I want to because I have, issues with food. Who doesn't love food? Like, we didn't get heavy because we don't love food. Did anybody in here get heavy because they don't love food? Because I need to know your secret. Somebody's got to tell me how that works because food is the devil. So I'm going to show you some more pictures of me. Like I said, I'm a gym junkie. So not only am I addicted to sugar, I will go to the gym every chance I get. And it's for hours. And it's weightlifting, it was cardio for like the longest time and nothing else. And then I decided, well, I'll start weightlifting again. I no longer have any foreign object in me, I'll be fine. And that's what I do now. So I'm very proud of myself in that, but I've not told you about my last revision. And the reason I didn't start off with that one is because this one is hard. This one is one of the roughest things I've ever gone through. So I have a distal bypass, which is what they did is they moved my intestine down lower to give me more malabsorption. So instead of just the 10%, I now have 55% of my small intestine bypassed. So it's not just like a DS. Like I still have my duodenal switch and all that. Well, not switch, but I still have all that. I just have a gastric bypass that happens to be lowered even more than most people. So that means that I have to be very diligent with my vitamins, incredibly diligent with my vitamins. And even though I take a crud ton of vitamins every day, I'm still deficient. So even though I take, every supplement underneath the sun, I'm still deficient. And that's because of the distal. Now, the reason I chose the distal over the duodenal switch was because he would have to open my stomach up completely and just reroute my RMY. So I was like, I can't do that. That's like 6 astomoses compared to 2. That's hookups. So that's hookups back into your intestines or like you would unhook, the little parts and then put them back together. So that's scar tissue and other stuff that you'd have to go through. So I was terrified. I was like, well, if any time I would die on a table, I'm pretty sure it'd be then. I'm pretty sure that one would probably be the last one. So I decided to go with this one, and he warned me. He said, you would have terrible gas. He's like, you will have not just terrible gas. He's like, you will clear the room. So I'm sitting here clenching my butt cheeks for everybody in here. I want you to know that. And I want you to appreciate it because it doesn't feel good, but I don't want to clear the room. So I'm trying to be nice. So just when you're filling out the surveys, don't forget. I'm doing this for you. And I would have constant and nonstop diarrhea for the rest of my life. So that no matter what I take, probiotics, no matter what I do, I could eat fiber till it came out the wazoo. It does not matter. Everything gets bypassed. It really does. Like I can't have any kind of salad. You forget it. It literally, and it's gross, but I'm going to be honest with you. Because a lot of people come to me and they're like, hey, I'd like to get a distal bypass. And I'm like, well, you can, but why don't we talk about why and what we can do to manage you not to have to go that far. Because this was a last resort. This was the very last thing I wanted to do. I was like, okay, I lost my 60 pounds, but I can't get under 300. I just can't do it. Like, no matter how much I went to the gym, no matter how much I did keto, no matter how much I was working out or walking, like I was walking 9 miles a day and could not get under 300 pounds. Like, my feet were blistered. I was constantly having to wrap them. Like, I have pictures and stuff of that all over my Instagram and Facebook if you guys aren't on there. I don't blame you. I overshare, obviously.
Good.
Don't make me interesting. So the distal bypass is a little scary. Like I said, I can't tell you that I won't recommend it because it has worked for me. Like, I've lost 300 pounds. So it's not that it doesn't work, it's that it's scary. And it's scary work because if you're not on your blood work and if you're not on your vitamins every day and you're not eating what you're supposed to, you're going to be in the bathroom all day and night long. Now, luckily, I have somebody who doesn't mind me being gross because unfortunately, that's what I live with. So, but a lot of people, you know, in the forums that I go to, their husbands and wives left. And I'm not joking. And that's the saddest thing on the planet is that, you know, they get surgery to get thinner, they get surgery to get a better life, and they, you know, have the gas, and they had to quit their job because it was so bad. Their spouses left because they couldn't stand it. Like, you know, it's smelly. It is a very smelly business, and I won't lie about it. I want to open the floor for, you know, questions and stuff because I know you guys have them, and I'm kind of here to answer them. So does anybody have questions about what's going on with me or what you'd like to know?
How long has this been?
So 7 years. So I've been doing this for 7 years.
I think I missed the beginning when you said about showering and stuff. Did you have that help?
A lot of times, I had a shower chair, and even with a shower chair, like my thigh would kind of sit outside of the shower, so I would have to pull the shower curtain back and tuck it up underneath. So that was miserable. And you know what? I had a wheelchair, like I told you, but we had to take the sides off because my thighs were so big. And I actually had rubber that would eat through my clothes because my thighs would be sitting on the wheels. And like, even though I would push myself up with a big pillow, it would still kind of just ooze over the side. And so, like, all my clothes that I had back then had stripes on them from the wheelchair. And also my skin blistered, like right in that area. But I couldn't stand. I just could not stand. And the chairs that we had where I was living was just too small. So it's not like I could just sit in the kitchen chair and just do everything because I had to be able to get around. So, anybody else got questions? Yes, ma'am.
First of all, I commend you because I know it's very hard to get up there and share your story. So thank you for sharing it all. I've got two questions. The first one is simple. I want to know if you knew how many other people, or if anyone else that you knew have had the distal bypass. And the second question was obviously you went through some very, very difficult periods of time where I'm sure emotionally that was a roller coaster. What for you was the driving force? Like, where did you pull your strength from when it seemed probably the hardest and you, I'm sure, wanted to give up?
So I have bipolar 2. I finally got diagnosed, thank God, because I had no idea what was wrong with me. The first question I forgot, so you have to ask me again.
Do you know how many other people have distal bypass, or have you found anyone else?
No. So there is a group of people, but it's a very negative space.
Mm-hmm.
It is a very negative space because nobody wants to share the really good stuff.
Right.
And that's what I'm for.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I share the good and the bad and everything else, and that's why I told you pretty much everything that's wrong, so I can tell you everything that's right. So you get that out of the way, and then I can be like, well, I mean, this is what I've had to work with, and I love it, and it makes me happy. Like, consequences be damned, pardon my language for anybody who happens to be, more on the non-cursy side. But, no, I didn't know anybody with a distal bypass, and I kind of chose that on purpose, because I was like, I can share that. I could share this whole experience on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram, and there is no one else, because there was nobody else on YouTube. Trust me, I would have been their best friend. They'd be like, so, how's this working out for you? But nobody. Plenty of DSers. Tons of people with the duodenal switch, but I'm not the same. It is not the same. I wish it was. It would be much easier on me if I could just be like, oh no, I have a duodenal switch, but I don't. And they don't deal with the same stuff that I do. Like the constant diarrhea, they can stop that usually, depending on, what they've got to work with. They take different vitamins that I do. So this is a whole different kind of monster. And I say it like that. Like I said, I do have bipolar too, and I have PTSD and some other fun stuff. I take a lot of psych meds. With the distal, I take about triple the amount of medication that one of you might have to take. And even with the DS, I take triple the amount of medication. I am maxed out on all my psych meds. I can't take any more because it'll make me sick. But they don't work unless I do. When I felt like giving up, I've had her to kind of back me up and say it's going to be okay. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure. Does anyone have any questions about that in particular? Nothing?
You've had good support.
Excuse me?
Said, no, you've had great support. I've watched you I'm one of the people who's followed you actually for a long time.
Oh.
I was actually looking for recipes and you were in my suggested thing. And so I've watched you when you were away and just keeping connected with each other. It's something that I'm sure people who follow you love. That you're so supportive of each other. And the gym and your pictures and the way that you say things like that, she sees this even though I don't.
Yeah.
And we can all really, especially those of us that, your inner mind tells you that you're still the old you.
Yeah.
But the people you love see the change.
Yeah.
So I love that.
Okay.
My question is.
How did you deal with your food
No, please go ahead. How did I deal? What?
How did she deal with food addiction? Which is what really you had at the beginning, right?
I still have it.
You still have it.
To be honest with you, to be 100%, it is literally every single meal I have to tell myself, okay, so what are we gonna do? Are we gonna cheat or are we gonna eat on time? Now, I will tell you, I'm not perfect. I'm so far from perfect, it's not even funny. So I do drink soda from time to time. I do have a donut, because I had one before I came in here. Oh, I do. I had Dunkin' Donuts and I had myself a donut because I was home. I was hungry. So that's what was the closest thing for me to get that wasn't $38 upstairs, so I was like, I'm not gonna do that. Sheesh. Trying to kill me upstairs.
For the record, if you don't have a parking pass, it might be worth it to eat there. Leaving and coming back, man, that's too much money. What was your question?
My question was, what were the biggest challenges that you faced as a couple that you were trying to support her in that I feel that maybe were probably the hardest things you had to do?
I think the hardest part of my question is what you just said. You said trying to support her.
Yes.
For me personally, it never felt like I was trying to do it. I just did it. I didn't have to think about it. I didn't have to worry how I'm going to do this. The only thing I had to worry about is she's going to die. As grim as that might sound, I would skip work and stay at home. Luckily, I worked for my parents at the time. Stay at home and just be happy she wasn't dead that morning. I'll be honest with you, a lot of people can't do that. I can. It's not really a big deal for me. So she kind of glanced over why she originally got into wanting to get weight loss surgery to begin with. Talked about how she lost hope and how she felt like she was dying. At the time, prior to me being in the military, I was paying for everything out of pocket. She couldn't get medical care prior to the Affordable Care Act, and pre-existing conditions meant she was basically signed to death. People just wanted her to not be there. She couldn't go into a hospital. No insurance company would ever pay for anything for her, so I was limited to the emergency room or clinics. And at the time, I'd gone to a free clinic, and this is the first doctor that ever really said this to me. She had to go to the bathroom, and when she walked out, the doctor walked back in. He's like, "Hey, you know, I really shouldn't do this, but your wife's gonna die." I'm sorry, what'd you say to me? He's like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna be honest with you. If you don't get some help for your wife and stop doing this, and he's pointing at me and pointing at the office, pointing at everything, doing this, she's got maybe a year left to live." And in my head, I was like, "What am I supposed to do?" And like he just kept talking. Like, yeah, she doesn't lose the weight, which ultimately was the problem. No doctor ever really said lose the weight. I mean, they had been like, "Well, you're too fat," and we knew that, but they hadn't said like in those words, "You need to lose weight or she's gonna die." And didn't say that to her. Didn't bother saying that to her when she came back to the bathroom. Just said it to me. And like that day, after I dropped her back off at home and went to a recruiter, Navy recruiter. Thank God I didn't do that. But Navy recruiter, and basically just started the process to join the military, and ultimately I ended up in the Air Force, and that ultimately got her medical care because we can't really deny her condition. So I think support. It's the hardest thing that we've had to do as a couple. It hasn't really been the weight loss part. It hasn't really been the medical part. It's just been growing. Just growing and being an active, relevant part of the relationship anyways. But that's just me. That's just my experience is that her medical problems have never been the thing I was trying to support. It's been just the relationship that I've been trying to just be the best person I could in. So, does anyone else have any questions? Anything for her? Anything at all?
So, I will tell you a few things, because I don't know how much time I have left in this video.
Any time.
You're like 17 minutes.
Well, thanks. I can tell you some of the hardest things it was for me to be in a relationship with somebody when you see yourself as 500 pounds and you're 200 something, is that I never see myself as 200 and something. Never. I never look in the mirror and I'm like, "Dang, you look good today, girl." Never. I'm always like picking at it. I'm like, "Oh, well, this is kind of looks a little snug." And when I came in here, I was looking at the mirror and I was like, trying to push what I got left up. I'm like, "No, I'm gonna pretend I got some." It's
Be honest,
fine.
she's cute, right?
Adorable.
But not being able to see yourself as the size that you actually are is really hard. And not giving yourself credit. I don't think we give ourselves enough credit for what we have achieved is probably half the problem I have. Is that I can say I've lost 300 pounds. Like I can say that to you, but in my head that means nothing. It means absolutely nothing to me. I'm like, "Yeah, I've lost 300 pounds." People are like, "Oh my God, that's amazing." I'm like, "Oh, yeah, that's cool." Yeah, because I don't see myself that way. I see myself as a failure because I had to have so many revisions. Okay. But it's hard to see yourself after you've had revisions and after you've lost so much weight, and then you have to give yourself more credit and say, "Oh no, I have done really, really well. I go to the gym 6 days a week. I try to eat the best I can. I try to help people through my YouTube and through my Instagram and my Facebook, and that's where I've met so many people." That's what I was going to show you guys, and I totally squirreled out on it. So, yeah. So this is my friend Alicia. She lives in Portland. This was 2 years ago for us, and this is the first time we'd ever met. And I had never really met people offline before, like not really. Like we would kind of chat, and then we would get on video chat with people every once in a while. But I'm pretty shy, so I rarely ever do that unless somebody aggravates me enough, Jody, to like meet up. So, but So I rarely ever meet somebody online unless, you know, I can get to trust them, and I don't think they're gonna, you know, be meaning to me, cause I'm awkward. I'm very awkward. I'm lucky I haven't knocked that over yet, or like thrown this, or like ran out of the room, or cried even more yet. So I've met, doing that. Oh, that was when I had my gastric bypass the first time. I get to say the first time because I've had it twice pretty much, so that's when I had my gastric bypass the first time. And there's kind of my dogs, so I have Yuki up at the top, and then I have Saki at the very bottom, and they are everything to me. If you're wondering about skin surgery, TRICARE really doesn't care about skin surgery, like, at all. So they're like, we don't care about your skin, like, we really don't. Though it would be amazing and be like, oh yeah, well, I get my arms fixed, and you take some of this up and put this over here and pull that back up, like, that ain't gonna happen. Not with TRICARE. I'm trying to find people pictures, I'm sorry. That's another one for my gastric bypass. And that was me the other day. Much cuter, gotta say. Much cuter. There we go. So again, Alicia, and then one of my very best friends, Michelle. Again, another person I've met offline. My really good friend Michelle over here. And then, you know, Jody. And I have more pictures of people that I've met. But that's what I was gonna tell you guys, is like, being scared and just sitting at your computer and not wanting to talk to anybody because you're so heavy, or you see yourself in a different light than what you are. There are people out here who are gonna love you just for you, who are just gonna be like, want to support you, because I never saw that. I was like, well, who would wanna talk to me? I'm sitting in a room with people who would like to talk to me, and I would never see that, so I would just kind of hold myself off, and I would watch from afar everybody else living and having a good time, and, you know, like, losing all their weight. And I would be like, man, it would be nice if I could do that. Man, it'd be nice if I could wear that. Man, it'd be nice if I could go on trips and do that. I've done all that. I've been to Korea twice. I've gone to Montreal. I have traveled all through the United States now, and that's something 500-pound Ivana would have never even attempted. If you told me today that I would have attempted 90% of what I've done since I had my gastric bypass the first time, I'd look at you and say, you were lying? You will lie like a rug? I'd be like, no, I would have never done any of that, because I was too scared to live. That's what I could tell you. If you take nothing else away from what I tell you today, I was too scared to live. I was too frightened of what could be if I lost the weight. If I was going to do something, I was too terrified to say, well, you know what, I could go on trips, and, you know, I could find somebody to love, and, you know, I don't have to be treated this way, and I don't have to have people stare at me when I go outside. I don't have to have that. I don't have to stay at home and have my groceries delivered, because that's what I was doing, and I would buy as much junk to make me happy, and Safeway would just bring it on in for me, and they'd even put it away for me. I didn't even have to do that much. So that is pretty much what I wanted to tell you guys today, is just, yeah.
I will remember, I'll ask questions. Lots of questions. So, you're 35, right?
40.
I read the bio wrong, sorry.
40.
Well, I was gonna say though, is that, like, leading within the community, because I do think that you lead within the community with the outreach that you have. You dealt with the addiction transfer, even like you mentioned, to exercise, which is one of the healthier addiction transfers that you can have. What would be your advice? Because I see a lot of your followers are younger, and I've seen that you mentioned how you had a military installation. So in El Paso, Texas, Fort Bliss is the largest one in the country.
Yeah.
We have a lot of young patients, and alcohol is the #1 addiction transfer that we deal with. So I'm sure you've seen that. Just, I guess, what's the, I would say, what's the best way that you found thus far to combat that? How did you turn it to the exercise? And have you seen that there's people that reach out to you to talk about that?
So there are tons and tons of people who turn to alcohol. And I won't lie, it's just as bad as the sugar addiction, it's just as bad as people still having their food addiction, but alcohol is one of the number one things I hear about constantly, is they're going out for a night on the town, they're gonna have 2 or 3 drinks, because it's easier to drink your calories with the sleeve, and sometimes the bypass, if it's tight enough, than it is to eat. So, and it feels good, so. Well, he's taking pictures on my eye. I just wanted one nice one. That's all, just one. But as far as alcohol, like I will drink, but it makes me sick. I have what's called, it's called the flush. So when I drink certain alcohols with sugar in it, like you see how flushed I am here, but it creeps my entire face. And I get nauseous and I start sweating, but it looks like I'm doing that now, but this is just nervousness, I promise.
Honey, wait till you hit 50.
It's just coffee, I swear. But alcohol is prevalent and it's so easy. It'd be so easy to be addicted to alcohol. Like it would be so much easier for me just to cope with just drinking myself ridiculous every day and just forgetting everything else. So for me, it was a choice. I was like, so I could drink, and luckily she doesn't very
You
often.
can.
But like I said, but she doesn't that often, so it's not in the house for me to do it. And I've seen what that does to people. I've seen people gain 200 pounds back, and then they look at you and go, I don't know why. And they've gained 150 pounds, and then they hide, you know, what's going on. They just leave the community for a while, and then they come back when they need help. Well, I've never left the community even when I had my rehab. I was like, because I still need y'all. I'm like, without you guys, there's no way I would be able to survive this. So I would see people go to the gym and I would be like, I don't know if I can do this, but I'm gonna try. And it took one time of me actually going in there and doing like 2 or 3 minutes on the elliptical and found out I could. I actually have a video of me standing on the elliptical and I think I did 5 minutes and I was, I'm gonna die. This thing's the terrible, oh God, it's gonna heal me. It didn't. But it took that time of me actually getting on there and being like, I can do this. And now I can do an hour if I wanted to. I could do, 2 or 3 hours on the bike if I felt like it. It was just, I had to get over that hump of, I'm too scared to try. So, anything else? You're welcome. Yes, ma'am.
Why is it that you were in the wheelchair? Was it mainly the weight issue or were there back issues?
So I had a car wreck in 2005, and I actually had to be, well, this is one of the number 1 reasons I do not drive. So some of you might know, some of you might not know. They had to get me out with the jaws of life. I was so big that they had 10 people trying to pull me from the wreckage. And luckily I was not dead, but I had had so much damage and I was so heavy for my size that it was crushing my spine, and I didn't have insurance. So I couldn't get PT. So I couldn't get like pain meds or anything like that. I was on my own. So I was living on my own, and now my car was completely totaled, so I couldn't even go anywhere. So I was completely at the mercy of whoever I was staying with at the time, and they didn't help me get up and down either. So had I had help, I probably wouldn't have ended up in the wheelchair. I still would have been a little bit more mobile, but I didn't. So I ended up I was like, well, I'll just use this for a little while. I'll just sit in it for a little bit. And that turned into years of me being in a wheelchair. And it took about 200 pounds, it took about 120 pounds for me to get off and say, I don't need this anymore. Because that's how scared I was without it. Like, I took it everywhere. So until I lost about 120 pounds, I was like, we had moved into a new house and she actually took it from me and put it out on the curb. Like she did. She was like, you don't need this anymore. I was like, yes, I do. I have to have it. Like, what if we need to go somewhere? I was like, I have to have this. And she took it, put it on the curb, and before I could turn around, somebody had snatched it and took it somewhere. I don't know if it was kids or somebody who actually needed it, but I turned around like, an hour later to come outside and be like, I'm just gonna, just
She's
take
so
this
mad.
back out
Great.
and put it in the garage, and you did see that, in case I needed it, because it was my crutch. I felt that I was going to need it. I would never be able to stand up this long Like, it isn't even 45 minutes yet, it's been like 40 minutes, and I would never be able to stand this long. I'd be doing this number, we're doing this number, or I would have had a seat already, or I'd be like doing this over here, and like just praying to God that, you know, this would be over already. I'd be like, so, I would just have to go. But that's how I got out of my wheelchair, is that it was fear that kept me in it so long.
And now you're no longer in the pain?
No, I'm still in pain. I'm in chronic pain, but I do have walking aids, so I do have a rolling, walker, and I do have a cane that I use a lot. But I'm also in pain management, so I do take medication in order to kind of combat that, so I don't have to, you know, sit down all the time. So I don't have to watch my life kind of pass me by,
Yeah.
because that's what I was doing. Yeah. So I couldn't do anything, so I was just kind of like letting my life just pass me by. I was like, well, I need to sit down. I need to. You okay?
Yeah. I would talk more.
Ma'am, you got a question?
I was wondering if you have any other joint issues, like your knees.
Oh yeah, I have osteoarthritis in almost every joint, and that happened because I was so big, but also because of my calcium. So once my calcium kind of tanked, my teeth are starting to go, and that's honest. You just got to be honest about it, because this is what happens. And even though I eat calcium chews and I take my vitamin D, yes ma'am.
Oh, go ahead, when you finish. In line.
Yeah, but you know, I've had lots of, I've had $6,000 worth of surgery in my mouth to try to keep my teeth, and it's just, that's not gonna work. So yeah, I have a lot of issues with my joints. I actually need a partial hip replacement, eventually a full hip replacement, but TRICARE says I'm too young. So because you have to replace your hip about every 5 to 10 years, depending on how much you use it, they're like, no, I don't, you're just a little too young. Come back when you're 45. And then when I'm 45, they're like, come back when you're 50. Yeah, then we'll try, because they don't want to pay for that. You know, because that's surgery after surgery. But they don't want to pay for that, because that surgery would take one time, but they'll give me the medication for my back and my legs and my hip. But the skin that's bothering it, that pulls on it, is the issue. And I'm like, if you would just take off the skin, I wouldn't need most of this. So that is something that you might have to deal with your insurance as well, is that the insurance is gonna tell you no, even though you need it desperately.
So, you know, I've followed you for a very long time, and I've seen your journey, and I've cried with you on YouTube. But my question is, I know it has been a difficult journey for you, and you've had lots of lows, but you've had some highs as well. Would you do it again? Is it something that it's definitely a test for your testimony? So do you feel that way? Do you feel that you have?
Every day. If you told me tomorrow that, you know, I had to do this over again in the exact same way,
Right.
Yep. I would even get all the revisions I had to do, because I would want to get back here if I had to start over again. Yes, absolutely. I
So-
would do that.
Time's up. Do we want to do one more last question?
One last question?
I think you had a question? It looked like you were about to raise your hand.
Oh, Brandon.
Yes, sir.
Not a question, you know what, I have opportunity to meet you earlier. The industry has terrible definitions of success that try to define it for days. They have all the wrong definitions. Your quality of life, health, relationships, your confidence, your incredible success.
And I will say should be in Florida 6 at 2 o'clock if you guys want to learn about our YouTube channel. Thank you guys.
And then we'll go to registration.
Thanks, everybody.